morning, everybody. It's time for this week's From Boxes to Butterflies. And today we're going to talk about a number of things. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be informative. And, as always, too, everybody who joins in, provide comments, be a part of the show. It makes the show a whole lot better. But to start with, check in on those around you. Check in on those who something's happened in their life for a variety of reasons. It could be medical, it can be family issues, it can be it can have to do with work. There's so many things in life that can affect us, can affect our mental health, can affect how we're doing. And oftentimes it's like we know when somebody went through something at a point when it happens, usually, like if somebody has a medical issue, about it fairly quickly. But other things, it may take time. But when you find out about it, you're there for them. You're checking in on them. You're seeing how they're doing, what's happening, and you're asking, how are they doing? Because that's such an important question. What's happening? How are you doing? What is going on? And how can I help? Those are all things that we want to make sure that we're asking people. And when you do ask somebody, don't take fine for an answer, especially it's like if it's been months, it's been a long time, you hadn't checked in, so you check in, see how they're doing, because you they went through it, and it's like, oh shoot, I should check on so and so, and so you do that, and it's like, hey, I remember you went through this, and I mean, you look like you're doing good. However, I just want to check in and make sure that smile is genuine. It's not you're not covering something. And here's the thing. When they say they're doing fine, you can't take that as the answer. I had a Gapi on a couple weeks ago, and last Monday, she has a beautiful fine as an acronym. So if somebody says fine, the way she looks at it is feelings inside not expressed. And isn't that so true? We're just so used to saying, oh, we're fine, and then we just go our separate ways. We're not going to express those feelings. We're not going to talk about what is going on in life. So check in on those around you, and don't take fine for an answer. Make sure that they are doing okay. And my sponsors, my beautiful sponsors, beginning with my amazing sister, Dr. Constance Leland, CJ, the things that she can do. And it's a lot. I tell you, it's a lot. Level Up Academy. She is there to level everybody up through education, the Netflix of education. And she does so much more. But when you think about every place that she's at, what she has available, education really is that foundation of everything. She has press releases. She has access to premium magazines. And when you think about these aspects, a press release really is education, because you are giving people information about your organization, your new project, your something. So you're educating them on what you have, what's coming up, what's coming out. Touch base with my dear sister, CJ. She has a podcast. She has radio. She has live streams. She has TV shows. She has social media presence that is amazing. So when it comes down to it, she wants to be there to lift others up, to level you up. And look at all these industries she has access to for press releases. Scan the QR code, touch base with her. You've got something coming up. She is there to help. And she is also there to make sure that you're not diving in too soon. So if you're not quite ready, she's got that ability to say, hey, you're not there yet. Once we have this, this, and this, then you're ready to go. So check her out, see what's happening, and be sure to check out her shows too, because she's on live. She's on her YouTube and LinkedIn, TV. She's got shows on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, same time as me. Thursday, same time, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Sunday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. She's everywhere, and I absolutely love that about her. Then we have the Hounds of Business community. Let's talk collaboration over competition. CJ says it all the time. I'm saying it all the time. The Hounds lives it. This community lives what it means to collaborate over compete, because so many people it's like you think, oh, they're doing the same thing as I am. Why would I want to work with them? It's a pretty simple reason, really, because you may be doing something similar, but you're not the same. So collaboration brings two people. You could be doing the same thing, or you could come across, that's what I love about the Hounds. There's so many different people, so many different things they do. Two people get together, they have that connection, and the next thing you know, they are finding ways to collaborate, to do projects together. They're lifting each other up, and they're sharing what it means to put these projects together. They're sharing in that energy that's being expended. So now you're not doing it alone. And I'll tell you, doing it alone is not easy. And that's what the Hounds of Business are. Check out the Hounds of Business. Check out Mike Ashebrainer. See what they're doing. Connect with them. It's an amazing group of people, and there's so many different things that are happening. And they have shows every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. They have a show, a weekly show, and then I think there's another one today. I think Mike's got like a half-hour show on ESPN today at 11 Pacific, which would be what, 11? That's 14, so that's 2 o'clock Eastern. And yes, I can easily jump into the 24-hour time, because former military, what can I say? 2,400 hours in a day. Then there's C&M Consulting. And this is my dear sister, Danielle. And I absolutely adore her. And she's now a sponsor. And CMC is a leading management advisory consulting firm that specializes in human resources. They center around empathy-driven and heart-led solutions. And when you work with them, they ensure compliance with regulatory requirements while fostering a culture of trust and workplace excellence. So check them out. It's my dear sis Danielle. You are looking at HR, you're looking at growing. Here's a great way to do it. And then we have Against the Grain is what's out. I just love keep putting this one in because that was our last book last year. And when I look at it, it is, it's an amazing book because it focuses on belonging, which is something I talk about so much. And there's my dear sister right there in the corner. The two of us, we put this was our fourth book last year together. And if you look at the top row in the middle, Agape, she's got Confronting Domestic Violence. That's where the proceeds go, because anthologies, they don't exactly make a lot of money, but we look at it as we want to give it, whatever we get, we want to give it back to the community. Our first book went to trees in Madagascar. The second book went to trees in Honduras. The third book went to mental health. And this one is Confronting Domestic Violence. And it's an organization actually that Agape leads. So check out the book, get your copy, because when you buy When you buy one of our books, one of our anthologies, you're helping the community. And that's the way we love it. We want to give to the community. Our next book, which our authors are in the middle of, they're writing right now, Chronicles of Scattered Pages, stories from everywhere. A very unique anthology, because this is an anthology without a theme. It's going to be interesting to see if CJ is able to get through it in one piece, because she's used to structure, and kind of hard to structure a book that doesn't have a theme, right? But we'll see where it goes. It's going to be fun. And then academicians. And I'm gonna let somebody else talk about academicians. Darcy B, my dear sister, I'm gonna put this up and let you do your spiel for this, because you're better at it than I am.
Yeah, so you have to have a minimum of a master's degree, and it is a research-based type of book. The research is quite quick. It's probably a month. We're going to start soon. And hopefully will be published in May. We are trying to make sure that this book actually goes into 61 different countries and multiple universities to be used out there for informational purposes. When you are writing something, let's say that you want to prove a point, in academic world, if it is not cited properly or it's not a credible source, then it's hearsay, right? So you lost your credibility just like that. So what we do as academics is we research it based on what's happening, and then we provide the results so that people who want to use the results as a secondary information can then have that instant boost or credibility on what they write. I try to do academic writing in the newsletter, actually, here on LinkedIn, to show you what an APA 7th looks like. And really, that should be the only way that we should be talking moving forward. Not saying that your experience or experiences is not valid, it is. But you have to be able to have critical thinking and synthesize it in a way that has format, so that everybody, no matter what industry, they can actually utilize it, right? And this book hopefully will be in 6 different languages. So if you're writing this book, we literally have 6 books, period. So can't wait.
I can't wait to see what happens with this, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, well, you were the first one in, so I love it. And then there's dear sister Lisa, and for anybody who that I adore Lisa, because
Me too.
she knows everything when it comes to menopause, everything going into it, coming out of it. She is the person to talk to. And for you guys, you got your own version of andropause. So, and she is familiar with that as well. You have any questions on it? This is the person to go in, talk with. And she just got such a great personality too. And she was in one of the anthologies. It was,
Rebel with a Cause, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was great working with her on that. And yeah, so
Yeah, because I think you said I have a live on Tuesday. I'm like, sister, Wednesday, Wednesday.
okay, I was in my head, I was thinking Wednesday.
I know, because yours is Tuesday. It's hilarious. I was like, oh, ADHD moment.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
because like we owned from 9 to 10 Pacific, noon to 1 Eastern on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yep. And then 7 on Sunday, and then anytime on Friday, because podcast is there. Oh, and double up on Friday now, because I have influencing you from 9 a.m., I think. Or is it 10? I don't remember. I gotta look up my time. But it is definitely on Friday. So I go live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
Yeah. And whenever it pops up in your mind besides that. So
Yeah.
oh, and half the time you're there with the hounds too. So you're You often
Double up on
on
Wednesdays. Yeah. Yeah.
that Wednesday. So how are you doing? I know you
This
got a lot
past
going on.
Yeah, and I actually like I feel like crap and I don't look like crap, which is okay. But I had really like bad circles right now because I haven't been sleeping right because of my cough. It's just keeps coming. And so I hate it. I'm like, oh, thank God for makeup. Let me tell you something. Um, Here's the thing, like I know some people don't like makeup, but what it does, it's not for you guys technically, it's for me, how I feel about myself. And I
Mm,
think a lot of people think that when you wear makeup, it's for other people, so blah blah blah. It's actually for me. I used to care about what people think or whatever, but when you're at this age, it's like I look pretty for me, not for you. Okay. And if I don't feel good about myself, I don't feel productive. I don't know what it is in my head, right? Whether I'm wearing my wig or not wearing my wig, doesn't matter. I just feel more me when I wear makeup. And besides, I wear makeup since I was 15. And so it's kind of hard to like not do it. But there are days where I go out and no makeup, but my glasses is this big, half of my face, so you don't see my face other than my jawline. So I was like, "No, I'm not, no, right?" But yeah, other than that, I've been productive. Lisa, if you're still here, I actually want you to test one of my bots. I know that you talk about menopause and andropause, but also you talk about how food is so important when you're going through these types of changes in our body. And it's really hard for me, like in the back of my head, I know what I want to eat, but like sometimes I don't know how to put it together or what's for breakfast or whatever. Like I need an assistant to tell me, right? So yesterday, Susannah and I had a conversation and said, a lot of people I think want to eat healthy, but just don't know how or what to buy. So I created a health coach bot from ChatGPT. It's not out in public. Not a lot of my bots, all of my bots are not in public use. It's just for my friends. But right now, the health coach is actually also adding not just nutrition. I tested it this morning, but it's more also on mindfulness because a lot of people says, "Oh, I'm mindful, you should be mindful, blah blah blah," but they themselves are not mindful, and I'm sure I am too. There are days where I preach mindfulness, but I'm also not mindful. So it's nice to have that little hand that tells you, CJ, what are you feeling right now? And then be mindful of that. Because, okay, I give you a recent situation. Um, some of you guys already know, but maybe you don't. When you are writing a book, and Susannah can tell you as well, when I get excited about your story, it's not because I want to make money off your story. Obviously, you can make your own money on your own story. It
mhm.
doesn't matter to me. But on average, you're looking at between five to $30,000 to create your book if you really want to do it right. I'm not talking about Amazon self-publishing, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the major retail stores out there and be done. On top of that, you can spend another $60,000 for marketing if you want it to be a New York's bestseller. That's like the creme de la creme. I've already been approached to pay 60 grand to get my book into the New York's bestseller on the book that I haven't written yet or finished. Anyway, so I said, okay, but let's say that you spent 100 grand on your book to be the New York's bestseller. What is the guarantee that you're going to make that 100,000 back? There's no guarantee.
No.
We've already known somebody within the Rebel with a Cause. Remember Kim? She paid
Yep.
30 grand to get her book done, and it didn't happen. She went to our anthology and her story is out, right? Is all I'm saying is be mindful of your words because it could trigger someone. I got triggered when someone asked me like, "Oh, you're so excited about my story. How much is my royalty?" I get offended. The reason that I get offended is we have given so much free of our time. Susanna and I, we edit until midnight and 1 o'clock for free, marketing for free, and you have the audacity to talk to me about what you're gonna make or what I'm gonna make. And honestly, it wasn't her fault. It's me. I got triggered. She didn't know the process, but I think you also need to be mindful on how you ask people, right? Um, So that taught me a lesson on mindfulness, on what triggers me. I hate users, and I've seen too many users here on LinkedIn. Too many.
Right.
Stop being a user. Okay? If someone gives you a positive energy, please try your best to be human and give positive energy back. And if you cannot, don't engage with them. Don't be a user. Someone up there is watching you, and if you think you're so high right now, you will fall. And when you fall, you will see what hopefully you did, right? But here's the thing. I don't wish people bad things. All I'm asking is for you to have a heart, for you to think before you speak, for you to roll that in your head a little bit, and for you to pick up the phone rather than text if you have an important question. Because text is one way and people can take it the wrong way. And I
Um,
was going through my sickness and my migraine and I got triggered. Let me tell you, I was like, no, this is not a conversation.
well, when you see a text, it it's not just how it's written. It's just like an email. It's not how it's written. It's also going to be what mood are you in at the moment that you read it. So if something just happened and you're on the lower side of things, then it can be much easier for those words to come across the wrong way than what they may have been meant.
Yeah, and I don't mind apologizing for my own issues and my own things. So I apologize, like I got triggered. But like, what do you think I'm gonna do to your story? You can certainly do it, but what I do is amplify your message. I've been consistent with that. I've never changed. It's always been that. If I really want to make money, I wouldn't get your story. I would get my own story out. So I don't have any issues with you, okay? But I think also I have to think on the inside. I think some people have been so traumatized in their life, they've been used and abused and kicked on the curve, that when they also see a little trigger on their end, that maybe there's a possibility that this person is trying to take advantage of me, maybe they too got triggered, right? And that's when emotional intelligence need to really kick in. But I welcome everybody to have a conversation with me rather than text. I'm like, hey, here's my Zoom link, come in. And if you're not adult enough to come in, I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, look who else is in the audience.
Mm, Miguel, hold on, before I forget. We need a meeting. Can we meet on 25th of Tuesday with Susannah after her show, at 10 a.m. PST? You, me, and Susannah need to have a Zoom because we need to start the research of our academics ASAP. And I'm putting an idea in, and I created a little helper for us as well for our research. So we are good to go. So Miguel, make sure you mark your calendar or message me. We need to meet on the 25th, 10 a.m. PST, because she has a show at 9 a.m.
Right.
She's writing it down so she won't forget.
Hey, I yes, we are both. It's like we throw something out there, and whoever's not speaking kind of has to write it down so we don't lose it, because our brains go 1,000 miles a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I also prefer a smaller group than a bigger group. We've tried bigger groups, we've tried smaller groups, and I prefer smaller groups than bigger groups, um, because there's more control in time and information.
Mhm. Exactly. But I mean,
So what is our topic today?
our topic today is it's kind of variety. It's kind of stuff that's going on now, um, what's upcoming, and kind of some of the ideas of what's going to happen on from boxes to butterflies going forward, because you and I have talked a few different things. So it's like, in terms of things going on now, I know there's a lot of people that are going through tough times. And so part of that is just trying to help see the silver lining in whatever's going on. Because it's like, I know what that's like. I'm dealing with my own sets of trauma and issues, and just understanding that, hey, not all of us have things that are just
Rosie.
yeah. And Miguel wrote it down. So
Oh, good.
yeah,
Good.
Miguel's got it down. But yeah, it's kind of thinking back about some of what we talked about the last few Sundays as well, of the things that are going on in life and how we get through them, how we get because the last 3 weeks we've actually had Bible verses as
Yeah,
part
it's
of.
gonna continue because it's we need it more than ever to have faith and not be scared to say what we're feeling. If you're gonna be authentic, then take me for who I am, and if not, just get out of my way. Why do you have to be mean or mean spirited, or people will always have opinion of you. No matter if you do good or bad, they're always gonna have opinion. So you might as well have your own. You know what I mean? I do want
Right.
to talk about trauma informed framework because we're talking about mental health a little bit and business and everything else, right? How do we approach, recognize, well, recognize that approach of understanding how to respond to the effects of trauma on individuals? And this is from my experience yesterday. Um, like mental health and healthcare and education. I didn't even realize I was teaching healthcare for a while. I'm like, wait, I did teach master's program in public administration for healthcare. I have for years, and I didn't realize that until like I was talking to somebody. I'm like, you're right, I have been teaching healthcare. So weird. It's because it's healthcare and business. It's always that business mindset, right? What up, bro? So I wanted to promote healing and resilience.
Mhm.
That's what I wanted to promote. And that's really what's next for us. All we do, all this other stuff that we do, it's not that it's not important, it is. But right here and right here is really important to get it aligned. Okay. So let's talk about the core principles of a trauma informed framework. And this is from the class that I've been teaching. So I'm going to share. They're really like 6 core frameworks, and I want to take your take on it. I'm going to do the first 3, sister. The first one is safety, and this actually goes with moving beyond boxes of productivity and belonging, right?
Mhm.
Because safety is not just you're safe from harm, physical harm, but emotional and psychological safety, right? And the way we interact with each other, with other people, the policies that has been changing every day, and literally the environments that we put ourselves in. So when I talk about safety, it's not just, oh, I'm not getting beat up every day. You could be mentally and emotionally beat up for everything that you have, right? The second one is trustworthiness and transparency. Building that trust through honest communication, consistency, and clarity. Here's the problem with communication. People think, oh, you don't know how to communicate. It starts with trust. Remember, I told you about trust? It's like an egg. You're literally walking around because you're building this egg forever. But then if you drop it, it's going to break, right? But if you don't trust somebody, your communication with that somebody, it's never going to be transparent. You're never going to be feeling comfortable to tell them exactly how you feel because you already shut down, because you're not feeling safe, right? That safety is always first. If you're not feeling safe, you
Right.
don't have trust, you're not going to communicate. That's just the truth. The third one is peer support. When you're going through life that's so hard, you wish someone would help you. Encourage connections and shared experiences to foster healing. Here's the thing, trauma bonding is so true. When people die, we saw it with Jessica. When people die, all of a sudden everybody knew Jessica and they were her best friend. You met them once, you're not best friend, bro. Right? Like, trauma bonding is so, it's like it makes them feel good and visible talking about other people's demise and them saying, I was their hero. Hello, right? So I think peer support is really important to encourage our connections and our shared experiences. And I'm going to stop there. We have safety, trustworthy, transparency, and peer support. What say you, sisters?
I'm gonna let Danielle go since she's here, because
Yeah.
it's been a while since she's been here.
Yeah.
I had to come and join you all today. So, what is the question again? My ADHD, you know.
So I was talking about core principles of trauma informed framework. The first thing was safety, right?
Mhm.
Some people think that you just need physical safety, when in truth, you need emotional and psychological safety when you interact with people, the
Yeah.
policies that have been changing in our environment. The second one I talked about was trustworthiness and transparency, right? If you don't feel safe, you're not going to trust that person.
Mhm.
If you're not going to trust that person, you're not going to be able to honestly communicate with clarity and consistency with that person. And then the last one is peer support. It's so important to have encouraging connections with our shared experiences to pull you out of whatever stuff that you're going through.
No, for sure. If anything, I would add to that, because I love all of that, and I think what I would add is accountability. Accountability is that important part, and you probably said transparency already. And I think they're parts of trust, right, and safety, and all of those things. Because, you know, if we make a mistake, especially like in our group of the trifecta, um, you know, we're there for each other to say, well, you know, I think maybe you went astray here. And, you know, just be mindful of how you're giving your time, or who you're letting in, or creating those boundaries. So that accountability piece, I think, if anything, for that safety aspect, because mistakes will happen, things will happen. But the important part, I think, is mindfulness moving forward, awareness. I hear Susannah and CJ say, and I remember, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, like awareness to action, right? Just not being mindful of it, but taking action to be accountable and make a change. Otherwise, how can I show, like in this situation with my sisters, that I heard what they said, it's important to me, and I'm going to be mindful of that moving forward. I think that creates a safety net around that piece, because safety is not just about physical safety, like someone's not going to hit me. It's about feeling like I'm safe to express myself. I'm safe to make a mistake. So yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Susanna?
I'm going to start off with a couple of verses, because when we talk that space, part of safety, it deals around that fear of judgment, because that is a part of it. So if you go into Matthew chapter 7 verse 1 and 2, it's like, do not judge lest ye be judged, for in the way you judge you will be judged, and by your standard of measure it will be measured to you. This is where a lot of people, they've got that fear of, they're not safe. They wear the mask because they're afraid, what is somebody going to say about whatever it is I'm hiding, whatever it is behind that mask. And so that keeps us quiet when we don't feel safe. That means we're not going to be able to trust. It's kind of hard to find those peers because you're worried about it. And then the other verse has to do with the woman who was basically accused of adultery. And when Jesus said, but when they persisted in asking him, it's like, what's supposed to happen to her? He straightened up and said to them, "He who is without sin among you, let him be the first to throw a stone at her." So again, this fits in that judgment and that trust. And you see so many people right now, they're pointing fingers and they're saying this and that. It's like, you do realize that when you point your finger at somebody, you've got 3 more that are coming right back at you. I'd say 4, but that thumb is kind of hard to make point back at you. So that's taking that foundation. Judgment, I see, is always one of the key things for being able to feel safe, being able to trust someone, and being able to be in a space of belonging where you have that peer support, which I look at the 3 of us with that core group. I don't feel a judgment, which means it's so much easier to drop the mask. This is what's going on. This is who I am. This is what's happening. I know I'm not going to be judged. Anything that may come across is like, well, have you thought about, or guidance or whatever? I always feel the love in it. So it's like a couple of times I know someone would come back and say, I felt maybe I was a little bit hard on you. It's like, no, I felt the love in what you said. So it didn't feel hard. It doesn't shut me down, because the trust, the safety, the belonging.
So I want to address that, because some people goes, how do I go to that level with you, CJ? I said through actions. It doesn't happen overnight. And it doesn't have to be 20 years of marriage either. You know what I mean? Or business. It's actions, through little actions. I'm very, like, you can ask Susannah, I see everything. That's just how my brain works. I see everything, little things that most people won't see. I see nuances, nonverbal communications, eye rolls, smiles, smirk, I see everything. I don't know why, but I do. So it's through actions that you build that safety, right? It's consistently showing that I'm safe. Collaboration and mutuality is the number 4 for that trauma informed. Shifting power dynamics to create equal partnerships in decision making. It's really important when you have a partner that you don't make the decisions all the time. I know that I can make a decision if it's my anthology to let anybody in, but I usually will ask Susannah almost always, like, hey, what do you think about this person? And here's the thing that I want to also tell you guys. When you present your ideas, don't get it out of thin air. Present your ideas and back it up. Why? Why do you think this is a good idea? Or why do you think that this is not a good idea? Right? Get into that habit, because then even if they don't agree with you in front of you right away, because we come with trauma, right? They're like, oh, what is she talking about? I don't know, right? Danielle does this all the time with me. But I'm always consistent with her, saying, sister, this is why. Look at this, this, and this. I don't take it like, oh my God, she's hating me. No, I take it that she comes from trauma and she probably has experienced this consistently, where she's told no and no reason why, just because. There's no such thing as just because. You have thoughts in that head. So tell me why you think this is a bad idea or this is a good idea. And then don't make a decision or choices for them. Let them think through that and help them guide through their own decision. That's how you grow as equal partners in your entire decision making. Not make decisions for them, but help them make the right decisions by giving them all the information, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. Because empowerment and the voice and the choices is very big. Valuing personal agency, guys. Making sure that you allow each and every person as an individual to make informed decisions. Not because, oh, I don't want to be your friend because you think differently than me. Danielle and I will have debates. We're really heated. Like, we get into debates. And at the end of the day, you're like, oh, that was nice. So what are you going to eat today? I don't know. I have some chicharron and some chips. Because we already know we have different opinions. We challenge each other, but we're not debating for the sake of debating and to be mean to each other. And it's not, we don't take it to the level of disrespect. It's just communication. Culturally, we're similar. Historically, we're similar. What our journey is different. Understanding the impact of cultural and historical trauma provides your inclusive and sensitive care for your friendship, business partnership, whatever you want to talk about, right? So those are the 6 one. But I want to actually love that sister started the the train of Bible verse. So um, Corinthians 2 Corinthians 4 8-9, it says, we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. Right? Because you have faith. And we know that in all things, God works for the good and for those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. That's Romans 8:28. Your turn, Sister Danielle.
Yeah, I would have to say, I think I said this on your show on Sunday, and I'll say it here again. Pray in everything. A lot of viewers know that my husband suffered 2 strokes and then another incident in April last year. And then yesterday, he was presenting symptoms like it. So, that panic that I had came back, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I went into like not knowing what to do, just like pray. And then ask for people to come and pray for him. And I thought, here we go again. He's going to be in the hospital 2 weeks. But a church elder came and prayed for him and anointed him and prayed over him. And everybody was praying. My sisters were praying. I was praying for the not just for Leo, like for the doctors, for the decision to give him medication that could cause bleeding, right? And I was on the phone with CJ, and she was like, let's not, and it just so happened that we wanted more conclusive stuff to come back. And this is a long answer, but that prayer definitely changed him. And I'm a believer and have faith that that's what saved him yesterday. He was discharged hours later. He is sitting next to me, and I don't know. And you would think, we would go home and rest. No, we took a moment to recover, and then we went to Bible study, and that grounding and believing in the prayer and hope in something bigger than ourselves, I think definitely changed. So that was a long answer, but it's Philippians 4:6, and it's, prayer in everything. Thanks, Mike. Me too.
Yeah, prayer and everything. And you've touched on some of this stuff, because in terms of, I kind of want to go back to the authentic self, even though it's like, it feels like it's been diluted in terms of who we are. So many people say, oh, they're authentic, they're this, they're that. And then when you see what they're doing, it's like actions speak louder than words. Yet I also see some people out there, it's like I talk about the importance of being our authentic selves. And to me, everything we've talked about, the prayer, the faith, that is my foundation. And it's a case where I know, it's like I've always known who I am. And while the rest of the world tried to get me to be something I wasn't, I found that point where I could just break free of the boxes that everybody else was putting me in, stay focused, see the doors that he opened for me to move forward. Because to be my authentic self, to be who I was created to be, is like, that's my mission in life. That's my purpose in life. And for somebody else to say that, no, you're supposed to be this, you're only thinking about, you're thinking about it wrong, and throwing Satan's name in everything. It's like, this isn't feeling right, when I look at this journey and the way I view it, our authentic self, who we were created to be, that's our soul. And I go this far with it. It's like our soul, the Bible says we're created in his image. I firmly believe that our soul is what's created in his image, because that's the thing that never goes away. That is who we are. That's our authentic self. That's our core. That's our heart. If you want, that's where we're soul-hearted. That's who we are. That's who we're supposed to be in this world. And when other people say, you all know, you're really this and you have to be this way, the bottom line is you cannot judge a person based on a shell that is going to turn to dust anyway. The shell doesn't go with us. God put us in these shells for a purpose. He opened doors when we needed the doors opened to make sure that we follow that purpose. Because sometimes he puts us in a place that's like, this isn't who I am. Yet those experiences that we get based on that particular situation is part of who we are, though. And then later on, he opens the door to say, okay, now it's time for you to be your authentic self. Let's go. For someone to say that who we are is based on a shell, it's like, okay, so are you saying somebody that has cerebral palsy, what are you saying about them? Because that's their shell. But look at the person inside. There are amazing people, and I've seen it on TV. Look at somebody who's born with extra limbs or fingers, or they're missing something. Are you saying that they are that shell? That is what they are, when who they are is that person inside and how they're able to grow. And if we had a world that didn't focus on judgment, that focused on acceptance, safety, awareness, and got to know people for who they are at the core, instead of trying to say, this is what you are because this is what you look like. Think of how much better this world would be to turn around and say, I want to know who you are before I try to figure out how I want to deal with you. Just think of how much of the turmoil that's been created, even in the past few years, could be alleviated, and people's mental health would go up, people's lives would improve if people got to know each other and understand God's given gift for each of us, instead of just looking at a person and saying, this is what you are, or finding out a sliver of a person and boxing them up and saying, this is what you are. And then I'll just finish with, I'm tired of the boxes, because when somebody puts you in a box, then they go choose a subset of a subset of a subset of something in that box as their example of everyone. And each of us is unique. Each of us is different. God created us differently. If he wanted us to be the same, we would all look the same. We'd look like a whole bunch of freaking robots. We'd be like the it's like the robots from Doctor Who. It's like, shoot, I can't remember the name of them, but it's like we'd be looking like that all the time. Everybody would be the same. They'd act the same. They'd do the same. That's not how we were created. So let's get to know people for who they are and stop judging them, because you don't get to judge. God gets to judge. Okay, I'll get off the soapbox.
I love it. No, that's good. Because when you're talking about, like, you're right, authenticity has been diluted, because people always say, I'm authentic, and then they write anything about authenticity, but deep inside, they're really not, because they're lying to themselves more than they're lying to others, and they convince themselves that they are that person because they've said it enough. So they believe that they are, even when they're not deep inside. And in my head, I called a V GIF. V is for vulnerability, meaning being real, even when it means showing imperfections, right? I'm not very good at that sometimes. I'll be honest. Like, what are you being imperfect, CJ? I'm like, I got a bad attitude. I have a bad temper. I yell, I scream, I throw chinelas at my kids. They know it too. And my dogs, they know what chinelas is. But it's not something that I would want the public to see. Oh, and I have road rage. I just want you to know. So, and I don't drive fast. I drive like a grandma. Yes, yes. Um, so that my vulnerability is not something that you see all the time. I also don't like cry for pictures or whatever. Like I don't. Oh no, to me that's not me. That's not being authentic to take pictures of me crying just cause. Have I cried? Yeah, especially yesterday. I cried for Danielle. My heart was broken. I felt helpless. So I created bots instead. I hit 30, by the way, already. So I was so stressed. My ADHD was kicking. I'm like, oh my God, what if this was my husband? Like, what am I going to do? And okay, let me just do the robots. Let me grade. Let me do the robots. Literally, that was me. And then I was praying. My Bible was out. I was just praying. So vulnerability. Some people think that by showing their vulnerability, by crying, by telling them that, they lost their jobs and, they're suffering right now, what do you get out of it? Sympathy? Really? You want people to feel bad for you? Why don't you do something for yourself? Right? The other one is growth. Being open to change while staying true to your core. You don't grow if you're not aware, by the way. Right? The third one is integrity. VGIF. GIF, not with a T. Growth. And then integrity. Acting in alignment with your values regardless of circumstance. One thing that you'll know about me is that Susannah's trying to help me with this. When I feel comfortable with you, sometimes I don't bring filter. I literally will just tell you like how it is. And Susannah's like, well, maybe you said it too straightforward and that's why she was taken back by it. I'm like, but I thought we're cool. And Susannah's like, in your head you were cool, but apparently in her head, I'm like, oh, you're right. I was not aware of that blind spot, right? Because to me, it's like I feel close and I just want to help. So I don't sugarcoat anything. I literally tell you, I think this is wrong because of this. You need to do this because of this. Somebody told me you need to increase this. I'm on business mindset when I should be taking care of that trust first. But that's who I am. Like, I'm pretty straightforward with my words. Sometimes I don't have feelings with it because I try to take emotions out of it. So it's logical. Remember, guys, I'm 60% logic, 40% creative. So I gotta pull my emotions. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, that does sound kind of crappy, doesn't it? And I realized after the fact, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna change it next time. But for me, it's like, why waste time? If you need help, this is what you gotta do. And then let's try it. I'm not saying what I said is 100% correct, but let's try it, see how it goes, right? So that's why I have a small circle, because not everyone is gonna take me as who I am. And these sisters know, like, they don't take it when I'm like, sister, that's not how it works. And let me tell you why. And they're like, okay, CJ, tell me why. Right? And they don't take it wrong because they know I have their back. So that's integrity, having that alignment in your values. And then the last one is freedom. Letting go of societal expectations, like what Susannah said, embracing your unique path. I know I'm different in so many ways. Not better than everybody, just different. I think different. I act different. My journey is different. I speak different. And I'm okay with it. And if you're not okay with it, that's your problem, not mine. Because my heart says that I can help you, and my God says that I'm living in my purpose, and I'm happy, and I can be contented with what I'm doing, even if it's not hitting all the world yet. But at least I have 135 countries in my ears. So I think I'm happy and contented for now. Danielle, what say you, sister?
Well, I love what both of you said, and I just, branching off, and I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna take a long break, and because I just want to be here with you all. It's been so long. So for me, like, that trust that we build, like, even if we were to be like, oh, I didn't like that, right? It's like, I think a lot of growth for me has been knowing that there is love, right? That you wouldn't be saying something to me like CJ said, like we get into heated debates. And it's good that we do that because it's like, it's just a conversation, right? We can still love each other. We can still get really passionate about it. But then, afterwards you're like, huh. And then I'm like, huh, okay, I want ice cream, and like believing, having that trust and that love there, and hope, hope is, and faith is believing in something you can't see. Can you see trust? Can you see love? I can feel it, right? And I had to do that yesterday, right? Those are my thoughts. Like even what Susannah is saying, like removing that judgment. I think Susannah said that. Removing that judgment, I think replace with empathy, right? Even if not within our circle here, but with other people, it's like, I try to tell myself, if I'm trying not to get offended so easily by things people say, right? Because in their minds, right, they were giving love, maybe not necessarily in the way that I needed to hear it at that time, especially like when I'm in the moment, because like you all know, like with the strokes, I have to treat Leo's symptoms like he's having another. So it's as if you're going to go through that trauma again. And having people around you that you can trust, of course. My first call after the ambulance was Susannah on the way to the hospital. And I'm like, Susannah, calm me down, and that trust of, she really did. I was able to kind of compose myself before I walked into the door, even though everything inside is falling. I can't see love, but I felt it, right? I knew that what she was telling me, it was because I trusted, and I knew that she loved me. She's like, what you need to do is calm down, get Elise to your mom, and then you're going to get to Leo. It's going to be okay. I'm here. And I'm telling you, everyone, I was falling apart. But hope is believing that even though I wasn't with him, because I couldn't ride in the ambulance with my 5-year-old, I think maybe that's God's way in Susannah being there at that moment to tell me, right? And that goes back to the safety aspect, right? Because of the trauma of life, right? I felt so safe. And even though I could be freaking out, because Leo could have died in there without me, right? Because when he's having those moments, he needs someone to advocate for him. And there's nothing. I was shackled. I couldn't get back there to him. 40 minutes. And I just had to believe that everything was going to be fine. And it was that trust and that conversation I had with my sister that made me feel like it was going to be. And that calm is what we're talking about. And it was okay for me to cry to Susannah because I'm scared. But equally the reciprocation of, she's there, I can call her, I'm safe. And then CJ too, when we're trying to make the decision to give him a TNK, which can cause bleeding, she's like reinforcing the decision that we made to get the stat MRI to conclusively make sure it was not a stroke before we would have given the medication. Luckily, coming back saying that it wasn't. And so that trust that I have with my sister, even though I was crying, CJ was calm, and that trust that we have and the vulnerability I was able to have, because I had to get it out. That's a long-winded answer, but that's what trust is, right? Beyond the business aspects and the partnerships that we have together, those things come second to the love and the care that we have from each other. Business is a bonus that we get to do it with people that we care about and love. And to me, when we approach life that way, instead of, replace the judgment with love and empathy. And if you have that extra moment to give that love, you know, it really did change things for me yesterday. And it certainly, thank you for the prayers from everybody, because it certainly changed the trajectory of what happened to Leo. And I'd be remiss in not coming here and saying that I was so humbled and grateful for it. And, you know, taking an extra moment to do that, because the love, I want my sisters to know how much I really do love and appreciate their support and the extra love that we give. So yeah, I'm just humbled and grateful.
I start panicking. I was trying to teach, and when you called me, right? Like at 10:30, and I was teaching, and then I had student conversations like during the day, and then I saw Susannah 911. I'm like, oh, what the heck happened? It's gotta be Leo. And I was like, oh my God. I told my students, I'm like, okay, guys, homework's done. Bye. Like, have a good day. Like, I was trying to push them out. Like, I need to go to my sisters. I was panicking inside, and the best way I could do is call Danielle after the fact. And I said, okay, sister, what's the business? Right? Because I know that I'm the type of person that once more, and I wanted to be present with her on my mad skills. I was using my bots, I was using everything to see. I'm like, okay, what's that word again? Why is it? Is there an alternative medicine for this? I need to know why you're doing this. Are you conclusively saying that this is what he has? Show me the results, right? You need to advocate for your loved ones. Doctors just go on a list, by the way, guys. They don't know everything, just like business people. They go through a list. And if you are 3 out of 10, they're going to give you this medicine. I don't think so. I don't think so. You need to tell me exactly why you're doing this. And is there an alternative? Because each medicine will cause more issues for you. Believe me. Okay. That's why I'm trying not to take medicine when I'm have issues, is because I've suffered. I had bleeding ulcers. I had surgeries. Because of medicine. So I hate medicine. My kidney's probably shot from all the medicine that I've taken for my scoliosis and everything else. I'm like, ugh. But that's why I want to advocate and be there. And if I'm not there, I'm going to create bots for people to use, so that if I'm not there, you can use it to advocate for yourself. Literally, I'm not kidding you. That's why I'm doing all of these things. Like yesterday, I was doing real estate. I was doing e-commerce. I was event planning. Like, I have so many bots. I hit 30 already right now. I even have software as a service product manual. I even have like, I'm going to do HR manual soon, like HR people for you. Like, I'm going to do accounting. Like, I'm so driven because I feel frustration when I'm not able to help. Like, I was really motivated. Remember, I told you I'm going to do it at the end of the month. I'm like, no, today's the day. I'm going to do this now. And I did. I did 15 bots yesterday. I was like, what the heck? Yeah, 15 in one day. So now I know I can push myself to 15 when I'm really stressed out. So usually when I'm frustrated, I write. Yesterday I did bots and grading. Because I was frustrated. I wasn't able to be there for Danielle when she needed me, when she called. I was like, well, if she had a bot, she could have tasked my bot to, why is this thing? What is the alternative, right? Like, she could have asked my bot, but I wasn't there. So I'm going to make a bot so she can ask next time. So that's what I did.
No, for real. I think that the thing is that CJ was on the phone with me, and actually there was a I walked in, I got to Leo when the neurologist was on this virtual like machine. It looked like a robot. And I was like, thank God I came in at the time. And at that point, they were deciding whether to give him the TNK or TPA to some other people, right? And it needs to be done within the onset of the symptoms. And so, more to come with that, because I think that definitely technology could have played a larger role when I wasn't there, because Leo can't tell you. So, I walked in at that point, and it actually was the RN that was saying, we need to be, let's just take a step back. Let's make sure, can we get him into MRI? And then I was advocating for that too, because I didn't want to give it unless, one, I'm talking to his brother, who's a pharmacist, to make sure. And two, we had like conclusive that it was another stroke and that we need to do this, which luckily in that matter was not the case. So, I have to go, but I just want to say that, really trust in your circle, in those moments. And I have a hard time still working through asking for help. But having that trust and being vulnerable with the people you trust the most is really important, because in those moments, that love was what got me through. And then taking time to rest after, because I was exhausted. So, yeah, I mean, it really does reinforce my faith, because when I've lost my way, I ground myself back in that. And that's what I feel right now in this moment, and having trust in the things that I can't see, which is the love that we have within our sisterhood. Because if not for that, I wouldn't have gotten through the first strokes, and I definitely wouldn't have got through yesterday. So I love you, sisters. I'm sorry I have to go, but love you, everyone.
I love what Danielle said. I think trust and love are invisible forces,
Mhm.
but their presence or absence shapes everything around us, right? For
It
me,
does.
trust is the way someone keeps their promise. The security of knowing that someone won't betray you for any reason. Having that honest conversations when they're difficult, and you don't get shut down, and no blame game and pointing fingers, just conversations, right? That to me is trust. Love, on the other hand, is the way someone shows up for you, even in silence. Like when I'm ranting, you just sit there and sit there and listen to me. That to me is love in silence, right? You know that I'm in distress, so you just be quiet and not give your opinion. And then after, when I'm calmed down, you're like, okay, do you feel better now? No. And I continue. Um, Small acts of kindness and being patient, because sometimes I'm very impatient, right? That willingness to give without expecting anything in return, to me, is love.
Mhm.
When I give something, we're not keeping a record like, well, I talk to you 3 times a week and I call you 3 times a week, but you never call and you don't ever text and you don't even reply. That conversation is too edgy for me. I'm like, see, that's not the friendship that I want or relationship that I want,
No,
right?
no, it doesn't have that right feel to it.
Mhm.
It feels like expectations. And the other thing is, when you have that space of belonging, even if you have an expectation, you never push it on somebody else,
Mhm.
because you have to understand that you're different people, and look at how that connection really is made. What is that connection? And to just push on expectations, to have expectations all the time, makes it really difficult for the person that is kind of being hit by it to it's like that. I see it in lots of different ways. It's that when you get hit in the face, somebody tells you to do something and they hit you in the face, are you going to do it? Or if you do it, are you going to do it in a way that you're kind of pulling back because it doesn't feel right? Uh, you hit me in the face. I don't want to help. I want to go somewhere else. I want to get away from you.
Mike said, great point, CJ. When I invest trust and everything in the handful and right folks, I no longer felt insecure and can go for weeks without hearing from and worrying if something is off. Peace of mind is everything. It is. And I know that Mike and I have gone through our fear moment where I think he thought that he would lose my friendship over other people. But even when he was in the middle of that fear, because we were in the middle of the people that he thought we would be losing ourselves with, um, we show consistency and we show loyalty. I don't take people's sides per se based on hearsay. Does that make sense? Like someone is the blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, that's nice, but I don't take the word. I want to see actions, consistent actions, because your words mean nothing. I could tell you I love you, but then you beat me up every day psychologically. That's not love. Bye. You know, I could tell you I like you and use all your resources, but talk crap behind my back. That is not love, right? That's not going to build trust. So I always put myself in situations where the action speaks louder than your words. I know I'm not for everybody. I'm okay with it. Um,
Exactly.
but at the same time, I think Mike and I's friendship have been tested a couple times. But he knows that I'm here because of his heart and his kindness and his love for his family, his children, his two babies. That's so beautiful. That beats him up on bicycle. Yeah, I love those moments. And his wife, and he's supporting his wife and his family. I love that. I love that Mike loves his family, because what are you living for? Your purpose. Why are you working so hard for? It's for your family, right? So I love that. Um, I love men who takes care of their family like my husband does too. So I see that in Leo, and all of these things. And if even if you don't have someone as a partner, if you have sisters like mine, you don't need one. I'm just saying, like, we're crazy enough. We don't need anyone's craziness more, right? But getting in our circle takes time, because we've seen how it is when we open the floodgate and we get hurt so many times. And we don't want those anymore. So we just close a little bit on our floodgate and we let people in one at a time and consistently watch their actions. And I've seen people who are consistently showing up for us. And I believe in humanity. I believe in people. I believe that people can change if they want to change. I also believe that some of us, or most of us, are gullible. When people tell you and gossip about other people, it feels good at the moment, right? But then you got nothing else going on. How does that make you feel? Don't worry about other people. Worry about yourself in terms of how you're going to grow. Love and healing, we're all healing from anything and everything in this world right now. But keep in mind that brotherhood and sisterhood comes at a price, and that is being loyal. Loyalty is everything for me, like not betraying me. Um, and also consistently showing up for us. But I don't ever want to see 911 on my text, because that really dropped my heart. Like, oh my God, what happened?
It was the first time I've ever used it, but I also didn't want it to come across as just for you to just say sister and then not see anything else. Is like,
No, because you know my ADHD, right? Like I brush through things.
like, I had to put something
Oh,
there.
that worked. That worked. Literally, I'm like, guys, I gotta go. So you gotta go. Yeah.
It's like I just really, the whole purpose of me putting it on there was just so that I would make sure you read it, instead of let the
Oh, I read
ADHD
it.
kind of go. I saw it and then I'll get back to it, kind of a deal. It's like,
Oh
oh,
no, I knew something was wrong because she called me earlier that day, but I was in the middle of a student conversation about some issues, and then doing it again. My lecture, I lecture at 11 and stuff, so I was like, oh my God, and then when that happens, I was like, man, this is when I had to think. I'm like, okay, how can I help when I'm not around? How can I help when I'm not? Bots, yes. And so I now know that I can create 15 bots in a day. That was exhausting, guys. Yeah, but while teaching 3 full classes yesterday and grading, I was like, wow, I am a bot myself. I can do this. It cost me my sleep though, but yes, I was so stressed. I was like, should I be writing or should I be creating bots? Nah, let me finish my bots and be done with it. And I did. So now I know I can do 15. Do I want to do 15 in a day? Heck no. I can do like 3 to 5 usually in a day, or maybe in an hour, but still, like, um, yeah. Thank you for your love and your care, sister, and thank you for being patient with me when I'm not patient with myself. Um, and thank you for always showing up in the right time in the right places. Really.
the beautiful thing is none of us have to try to do that. It just happens.
No. Yeah. Love you, Leo.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to make
Love
sure
you.
it's like you feel the love because
Yeah. I made a bot for you, bro. A health coach bot, and I think I might have to do a healthcare bot for you next time. I'm gonna make that so that like you ask the bot what medicine interacts with what medicine. NIH already have it, but I'll give you a bot for yourself. Like, what should I be looking for in this capacity? I'm gonna make a bot for you. I made a bot for Shonda for legal. Because I was like, we need an MOU and NDA. I'm like, ah, dang, lawyers. Okay, let me make a bot. And so I did. I make
that's
a bot for based on their needs. Okay, like CJ, I need this. I'm like, ooh, okay, then let me think about that. I'm going to have to use that. I know. I'm on testing right now, but I do have a health coach bot on like what to eat, what to do. I don't know if it does exercise. Maybe we can do like a Zoom on Pilates. Have you guys done chair Pilates? I couldn't breathe yesterday when I did chair Pilates. So wow, I know I'm getting old and I'm not stretchy anymore. Bye, bro. Bye, sister Mike. We love you. I know we're over. We're just having a conversation.
yeah, that's kind of what we do.
I know. I'm like, we gotta end it.
Just like on the Sunday shows, we could that the only thing about Sunday is there's a deadline.
Oh yeah. TV's like, get out of 56 the max. I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's great. The conversation was great. What's coming down the pike is I think there's really some good stuff that's coming. It's amazing how some people think they I think part of the problem in this world too is you've got too many people that go on social media and make themselves look like they're so successful when
Mhm.
not, so that when you show up in different places and you're doing different things, people think, oh, you must be, and it's like, no, it's not. It doesn't work the way that you think it works. Nothing is really always that easy, but it's been great having both of you on. That was the big surprise when I saw Danielle pop up down below, and I'm excited to see where everything goes. And with this, I mean, now we're talking podcast at some point here, and turning. I'm looking at how to really upgrade the live streams. So there's a lot to happen over the next.
Roku TV's coming up in a couple months. Yes, we're gonna have Roku TV. We're looking for 100 founders. Our academic book is coming up. I think for us, sister, if we continue our anthology for the next 3 more quarters after this quarter, that's 4 books, right?
Yep,
And then our academic 6 books, like automatically this year we'll have 10 books automatically,
exactly.
right? But we're working on other projects. So maybe my goal is to at least have 12 books this year. So we'll see how that works.
I'm right there with you. That's I want to do
Yeah.
something like that. Actually, for me, I think I want to try and squeeze in a couple more just to try and catch up
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I think I want 12 this week, but I mean this year. And then I also want to do like last year I did 3 or 4 speaking engagement, 2 online, maybe 3 online, and or more than that online last year, and then 4 in person, I think. And so I want to do maybe like 4 in person this year. I don't know how that's gonna happen. And then of course in June we are gonna open up 50 inspirational connections again.
Right.
I think this time I'm gonna do it differently. I don't know how, but I want to give money prices. I'm not rich, so it's not gonna be that big, but it's something that I can send. It's gonna be between $50 all the way to maybe like $200 for prices. So we'll see. So if you are already working on something within your community, then go for it. I think this will be something with you. And as usual, I don't care how many followers you have. I only care about what you do for your community. Because followership doesn't mean action, guys.
It doesn't. We've seen too many people that's like, oh,
Yeah.
I've got millions. It's like, yeah, but so what?
You're not kind. I don't like unkind people. And I will put to bed, because I think somebody who's very mean, I know who you are, saying you shouldn't do 50 inspirational collections because CJs can have intellectual property and blah 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 blah, and all of these, like LinkedIn. Come on. Do you see the top Filipino on LinkedIn? Do you make comments on that? No, it's been doing it for 5 years, right? So we're not making money off of LinkedIn like that. We're just actually promoting LinkedIn, and our connections was doing something for other communities. So that's all.
Well,
But bye for now, guys. I will see you tomorrow. We'll have Deborah Jackson. She's one of my really good friends when it comes to elevating women as well and business. So don't miss that, because she's the one who pushed me through, go through influencing you. So if you need some influencing, watch tomorrow's show.
and you are the publicity queen, so I love it.
Oh, we need press release this year. I gotta do one. Okay.
There you go. All right. It's great to see everybody, and I will see y'all next week. But for the next 2 days, pop in at 9 a.m. Go to CJ's YouTube channel, and 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. She's got shows tomorrow and Thursday. And it's always an amazing time. Bye.